All right, pen friends, another Jinhao update. Today I'm going to share with you an update with this hack, I would say, that I shared in my last video, proven to be pretty sustainable, I would say. A lot of you have said that you have had great results, so I'm going to go over that with you, along with some new inks and some swatches. We're going to do some comparisons as well with other inks that I have in my collection, some new pens. But are you really surprised? I mean, come on now. And then surprise, surprise, I do have a juicy surprise for you at the end of this video, something that I have to share with you. And yeah, a few samples. So I'm going to just put this off to the side to keep me on track here. But let's get to the Jinhao. The Jinhao 10. Oh, by the way, this is the Hongdian M2, and my checklist was written here in the Desert Burst ink by Diamine. This is a beautiful, like brown, tan, yellow-ish ink, and I like how it's not quite brown. It's not quite yellow. It's like that sweet spot in between. And I have really been enjoying it with this brass pen. Yep, still using it, still liking it. And a few of you have mentioned, hold on. Sorry, I forgot to point out the cat, the yin yang cat here. And a few of you have mentioned how you like that detail. So apologies for not pointing that out in my unofficial kind of review and first impressions video. All right, so the Jinhao. Let me get this here. I should get some paper. Let me get my scribbles. So the hack that I shared in my last video, it was regarding like hard starts and drying of the nib. Remember how I had this inked with a gray ink? It was this one by the Endless brand, Endless Alchemy, and it was in the Wizard's Pencil. I liked that ink color. However, I found that after like a couple of hours, maybe like 5 or 6 hours, it would dry up. I thought it was the Jinhao nib, but turns out it's actually the ink. And how do I know that? Because I have switched it out to the Hongdian ink. I shared in my last video that I really enjoy this ink and I find it to be on the wetter side. Almost reminds me of the Noodlers brand, but not that wet. So it's not as dry as Sailor inks. I find like this is like pretty comparable to Pilot inks, where it's not gushing wet like Monteverde. I noticed that was a gushing ink brand, and it's not too dry. It's like in the middle. So I inked it up with the Hongdian gray, and I have not had any troubles. It writes, look, right away. I haven't used this pen in a couple of hours, actually. And this is in the gray color. I always try to do these videos like next to my window so you can get like the true lighting. And a lot of you were saying that that seemed to work using the Hongdian ink or also wetter inks, such as if you're somewhat of a newbie like I am, maybe you're not familiar with which brands are considered like wetter inks or drier inks. And in my experience, for dry inks, I noticed that for me, at least, the drier brand is Sailor. And then the wetter inks are like Noodlers and then Robert Oster. I really do like this ink brand because I have no problems with it. It never really gives me any hard starts or skipping. I love this with my TWSBI pens, and I also like it with my Jinhaos. Also with my Pilots. Really, I just like it in general, Robert Oster. But it's very comparable to the Hongdian ink, so you might want to look into Robert Oster, that brand as well, with your Jinhaos. And yeah, so that's my little hack. Try switching out the ink, but look for the Hongdian if you are, kind of getting your foot into the fountain pen rabbit hole. I would say this is very budget friendly. You can get this brand on Amazon for like $9, and you have 60 mils here. So to give you an idea of 60 mils, that is pretty comparable to if you use like the Pilot Kakuno. they have this cartridge, or Pilot pens have like the ink cartridge right here. And I measured this. This is about 1 mil right here. So you can fill this up 60 times with this for $9 to kind of put it in perspective. I have other colors. The black, I really, really like this black. I mean, it's bold enough for me to see and for my preference, but it's not too black where it bleeds through everything, kind of like my Heart of Darkness by Noodler's ink. I really enjoyed that, but I could not use that with like basic everyday, copy paper. I definitely could not use that ink at work because it would just go through all of the everyday paperwork. So the Hongdian black is just as bold, but a lot more forgiving when you are using it on just your standard paper here. So to show you, I mean, black is black, but it's very bold. It's nice. When I art journal with this, I just like how vivid it comes out. And I'm still enjoying this pen, by the way. A few of you have asked if I recommend it, and yes, this is the Hongdian N12. So many numbers and letters I have to remember with these pens. Yeah, this is the N as in Nancy, N12. And you guys, I'm still reaching for this. I don't even touch my TWSBIs. Okay? I have a secret to tell you. Maybe did I share it with you in the last video? Okay, you know how TWSBI came out with the new espresso bronze? I have it, but I haven't shared it because I'm actually thinking about selling it. Yeah, brand new. I haven't even inked it up, but I will show you an ink that I think would pair beautifully with it. I just love my cafe or the cafe bronze so much, and this is in medium. And I figured if I really want a brown, I can just ink it in this. But I don't know. I might have regrets. So we'll see. But I may put it up on my shop, my coffee shop, and de-stash it to someone that would actually use it versus me having it sitting there and me debating on whether to pick it up. Because yeah, I have really been enjoying this. What I really like about this pen is, and I did not expect myself to love this as much as I do, but it's this, the grip section is very comfortable for my grip, for my fingers, for my hands, and it's actually thicker than the TWSBI, slightly thicker, but not too thick. So the girth of it is just perfect for me. It's not too, well, it's pretty light, but not too light like the Pilot Prera, but it's not too heavy, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I like it. It's a smooth writer. It is so smooth, and it encourages me to write like continuously. I mean, look how smooth this ink comes out. I mean, it could be also the Hongdian black, but for the $20 price point, I'm still in love. I use this every single day. I actually take this to work with me. I journal with that in the evening, but I still use my Jinhaos because they're very easy. They're click and go. So yes, I'm still enjoying my Jinhaos, and apparently a lot of you guys are understanding the hype behind these and enjoying them. But the hard start, consider the different inks. I will say one thing that I do love about my Pilot capless, this is not inked in the Hongdian. This has the Desert Diamine, the Desert Burst by Diamine, and I have not had, let me get a notebook pad. I have not had any hard starts with the Pilot capless or Vanishing Point. I have not had it dry up, and I don't use this. I don't reach for it hardly ever. Maybe I'll pick it up like once every couple of days to kind of, check in on it, make sure it's still okay. But I am just using my Jinhaos and my Hongdian. But that just goes to show, if you were to pay retail price for this, I definitely do stand behind it, and the quality is there. So just because, the Jinhaos are a lot more budget friendly, I wouldn't discredit Pilot and, you know, say that this is way overpriced. Now, keep in mind, this is the alloy nib. It's not the real gold, but, you know, I still think this is worth the investment if you were to ever come across the alloy Vanishing Point. So I can't speak on the real gold nib because I don't have the Vanishing Point, the real gold nib, but I still love this pen, and it's, you know, one of my top favorites. All right, and another thing, speaking of gray, okay, the Wizard's pencil. So I do like this ink, and I have it still within my Kakuno. And even though it did dry up with my the Jinhao, it has not dried up within the Pilot Kakuno because, of course, it has, you know, this satisfying clip right here. This is like the same cartridge that I've had for a couple weeks. So as much as I've been talking about the Wizard's pencil, that's how long I've had this inked out. I haven't changed it. But I switched between this and the Jinhao 10 because I want to use up the ink. And I am the type where I don't like to waste it. So I know some people, they'll just, you know, they'll clean it out, or they'll maybe just, you know, they don't care about the pen. I kind of like to use it up a little bit. But someone had a really good idea, and they said that they'll use a syringe and they'll put it back in like a vial so they can like watercolor with that. So that's actually a really good idea. I have some empty vials, so I'm going to do that. But here's, oh geez, just as I said, it doesn't dry up. Okay, it's actually running low. So if you see that skipping, that hard start, it's because the ink is running very, very low here. But it's a beautiful, yeah, hence the name pencil. It's like a lead pencil colored ink. But you know what? Let me take these scraps of paper out. I was looking at my Hongdian gray, and I was thinking, wait a second, these look very, very similar. So if you are curious to know how these compare, I would say to like the naked eye, it's very hard to tell. Okay, what is you really can't tell the difference. Okay, my Jinhao is running out of ink too. Now this one, it leans a little bit more on like the greener side, and this is leaning a little bit more towards like the dark gray black, but I hope my sunlight can pick it up. Okay, I have some ink swatches that I'm going to share with you, because as I was using these, I was thinking, wow, they look very similar. And I have a test subject here, and you let me know. All right. I have, let's see. Okay. Right here. Which one? Now, they may both be the same, but can you tell which one is the Wizard's pencil Hongdian gray? Okay. How can I do this? This is on watercolor paper, by the way. Okay, so you could probably tell that this one looks darker, right? This one kind of leans, it has like a little bit more of a greenish hue. I could see that. These two actually look pretty similar. If not, they could be the same. Who knows? Okay, but let's see. Let's turn it over. This one is the Hongdian gray. But again, this is on watercolor paper. So I'm going to show you on other paper, because it looks different on different papers. So keep that in mind. And then this is the Allegory by Dominant Industry. I share this in my log of Elixir. Yeah, I swatched that because it looked pretty similar. So again, this is on, I think, 140 pound watercolor. but I made like my own little swatch card. And then this is the Wizard's pencil. So I would say when you're writing with it, it's very hard to tell the difference. Now on normal paper, to show you a comparison, here is the Ireful brand. This is pretty similar to the Cosmo Air, and you could see right here, the Wizard's pencil, this leans a little bit more like the bluish green, whereas on the watercolor paper, this leaned a little bit more bluish green. Let me grab it. Okay, so here's the Wizard's pencil on the watercolor, but this is how it looks on the Ireful paper. So I always recommend swatching your inks on paper that you know you're going to use regularly, because the inks will look different on the type of brand. I know it looks different on my Moleskine. It definitely looks different in my Hobonichi, the new Tomoe River paper. It'll look different with the Cosmo paper. It'll look different on printer paper. So you definitely want to play around with the different brands. And I find that sometimes the websites, their swatches are not accurate. I've received the samples and it did not look the same. And here is the swatch card for the Hongdian gray, but you can see on this watercolor it picked up a little bit more of the green undertone, and then here on the Ireful it's gray, like a foggy gray, and this is more like a blue-green gray. And this is actual pencil lead. This is charcoal, and then these are two different pencils, just to show you. So I would say even like the Hongdian leans a little bit more of the truer lead color. Oh, and here's some other color comparisons. Well, but I'll get to that in a minute. That's some new ink that I have. But going over some more geeky details, if you are like me and you like to use like Midori paper, I did the swatch here. This is just an A6 size that I trimmed down to be pocket size to fit my leather notebook. And you can see the gray, the Hongdian, there it picks up, because this paper is cream, I think it picks up a little bit more of like the green undertone. And then the Wizard's pencil, yeah, it looks more gray here. But they're both nice. And I actually used the Jinhao, because this has the gray. And I scribbled, right there. And then getting my Pilot Kakano. Oops, I left it undone. It's probably dried out. Hold on. Let's see. Again, it's running out of ink. But side by side, you really can't tell. So all to say, if you've been curious to know about the Wizard's pencil, it's pretty close to the Hongdian gray. If you like the Hongdian gray, it's really close to the Wizard's pencil. So yeah, that's something I noticed. And I think you'll get to recognize that as well in your fountain pen journey. Certain colors and hues will look very, very familiar, like these two, which I'll get to in a minute. I really like this color, but it reminded me of this color. And I'll go over those details. But here is the Tomoe River paper, well, the new one, not the old one. By the way, for you fountain pen lovers, what notebook are you using on a regular basis with your fountain pens? I'd really like to know, especially you fountain pen enthusiasts, the ones that like love to write with your fountain pens. Do you have a journal that you keep, or maybe a notebook or a planner that you love reaching for because it works so well with most of your nibs and inks? Yeah, if you could share, that would be helpful. I know it's Tomoe River paper, but the paper has changed. So I'm curious to know if some of you are just using up your old stash that you've had, that you've kind of hoarded and collected, or are you kind of readjusting your writing tools and finding the right nib pairings with the right ink combination? Yeah, I'm curious to know, because I know Tomoe River paper was like the go-to. Everyone pretty much used that when it came to fountain pens, but the paper is definitely different now, where we are experiencing some bleed through and heavy ghosting and feathering. But let me show you. This is the Hobonichi that I cut down for this year. And I think I'm just going to kind of keep it as my playbook where I'm just going to have fun with swatches and inks. So here are the grays. And you can see here is the Hongdian gray. And the Wizard's pencil, again, it comes here, it shows up more blue, green gray. And then here is kind of like a true gray. So I hope this gives you a visual representation of these colors on different types of paper. H for Hongdian, W for Wizard's pencil. I mean, they're both lovely, but they both show up different on different brands. Now, okay, going back to actually these colors right here. I have a new ink that I picked up, and I got it because it was a great match with the TWSBI. The TWSBI espresso. Where is it? You know, I'm looking, hold on. I'm looking around at my desk, and I think, hold on, let me see. I put it somewhere, and now I can't remember where I put it because my intention was to sell it because I've been enjoying my other pens so much. And again, like that, oh geez, I wish, if you just look it up, you'll see that TWSBI, the new espresso, the brown leans more like red to me. My eye picks up, it's like a brown red, which it's still beautiful, but it's different in person than what I expected. So again, I really love this color, the cafe creme, or just the cafe bronze, but I got the Raisin, and again, this is in my true lighting. So if you're curious to know what the Raisin by Lennon toolbar ink looks like, here it is. This is on the earful paper. I think this would look perfect with that pen. And this is next to Cacao do Bresil, my other favorite color. This is by Jacques J. Arbon. This is again Lennon toolbar. But when I was swatching this, I was thinking, why does this feel so familiar? Like, I like it, and I think it's because it reminded me of the Cacao do Bresil. It's kind of like that warm, brown purple kind of hue. This is like a, how can I describe this? Reminds me of like chocolate pudding. This is like a rich chocolate pudding. Or I guess raisin, yeah. Some other colors that look very similar is the Allegory ink that I was swatching and playing around with in the Log of Elixir flip through. But another ink that I picked up is Thunderstorm by Robert Oster, because I don't know, I feel like you can't go wrong with Robert Oster. I just like their inks, and it just flows so well. When I swatched it, right away it reminded me of this Allegory. This Allegory, though, the best way to describe this ink, it is a darker version of my Lennon toolbar Silent or Night Sky. Night Sky is light. This reminds me of a darker version. And then this Thunderstorm, it almost reminds me of, or actually, you know what, this Thunderstorm reminds me of a darker version of Night Sky, and then the Allegory reminds me of a darker version of Earl Grey by Diamine. That's what it was, but very close, especially when you look at the writing. I'm sorry, on all these angles, it's just because I'm trying to give you an up close look here without disrupting the camera. It's very faint with the Allegory. You can tell that it's lighter, but slightly. And the Robert Oster is slightly darker, but both beautiful. And I did, let me see, did I do some swatches in the Hobonichi? Let me see, I think I was playing around and enjoying Oh, okay. Maybe not with the blues, but I did do it here with the Raisin. Here's that Raisin by Lennon toolbar, and then here's the Cacao do Bresil ink. Do you see how they look almost sort of similar on here? And let me show you. I have this actually inked in the Cacao do Bresil is in my Jinhao 82. And we have, let me bring you closer. Just to show you. Okay, so I hope that helps. And then the Raisin, I do have it inked up, but not in a TWSBI. I actually have it inked up in, what is this? A new pen, which we will segue into next. This is the Admok M800. Yeah, I saw one of your comments, one of you pen friends in the community. One of my videos said that I should try this out because I think it was because I loved this Hongdian. And you're right. I do like this. Yep. I got it on AliExpress. It wasn't on Amazon, but I got it on AliExpress. And let me just compare this real quick. Sorry. Then I'll get back to the ink swatch. The grip section, it's a little different. You can see the threading is a little closer up. The nib is a Schmidt nib, which I'll get to in a minute regarding that. But yeah, I like it. This is in the fine nib, and I'm enjoying this. So I have it inked in the Raisin. So let me do a little pen swatch here. I know you're like, what is up with these weird angles? It's because, again, I try to get this in natural lighting versus artificial lighting, so that way you could really see like how these inks truly come out. Because I have definitely been, not catfish, but I've definitely, have purchased inks thinking they look one way on a website, and then when I get it, it's not even how it looks, not even close. So this, I feel like, because it's live and it's in natural lighting, there's no color saturation or Photoshop or enhancements. You can see how the ink actually looks. And then this is the fine nib. Very smooth, so you see how they're similar. This Raisin is beautiful. I like it. I like it just as much as I like my Cacao do Bresil. I feel like this is like a cooler color, so this is great for fall. This is like a nice warm color. I guess they could be great for fall, both of them, but I like this this one for this season. And yeah, so here's how it looks again on the earful paper. So it comes out like a nice brownish color, like a burgundy brown, I would say. Beautiful. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, we can talk about this new pen. Really nothing much to say because, I'm not a professional fountain pen reviewer, but would I recommend it? Yes. Do I like it? Yes. Is it a smooth writer? Yes. Budget friendly. I think at the time I got this on AliExpress again for like $40, and I don't have any regrets. I like it. The nib. So that's what I was getting at. This nib, the Schmidt nib, this is the exact same nib that is on my, show you. It is was like, why does it look and feel familiar? And then I saw the brand up close and I was like, oh, it's the same brand nib that Banu, this glitzy, glittery brand that I really like. The Euphoria is my favorite by them. The size and the feel. Yeah, when I saw this, it definitely caught my eye. Do I have this inked up? Oh, I do. What do I have this inked up with? It's a very smooth writer. I think that's Diamine Ochre. And then here you could see this is a smaller Schmidt in the medium. I think this is Honeybee. But all that to say, I can get the same smooth writing experience for a fourth of the price. I'm trying for you. Yeah. Depending on what model you get, these retail, over $100. And, you're paying for this glitzy, unique design. But if you care more about the writing experience, the nib, I would say, yeah, the $40 for this Admok M800 and the girth of this grip, I'm very satisfied with it. So thank you for that recommendation. I'm happy with it. They had other colors, but this is the one I chose. And I am reaching for these more than my TWSBIs. The only thing is, I have to get used to not seeing the inks. I'm so used to seeing that with my TWSBIs, the ink body right here on the barrel. Right here. Because again, I come from the TWSBI fountain pen world. Oh geez, oops. So yeah, that's one thing I have to get used to is, whoopsie, not being able to see how much ink I have left. And then this is, it's the same. It's like a piston filler where you twist this and it draws up the ink. So similar to the TWSBI. Same with N12. So these two are my favorites at the moment and I use every day. Now that I discussed that, oh, I wanted to also, going back to the dry hard starts, you know what? This Majohn, I mean, it's a different brand, but same design concept, the Click pen. This is really what made me curious about the nib. Like, is the Jinhao 10, is it a design flaw, or maybe is it the ink? Because I've had this Majohn inked up with the same ink for how many months has it been since I've been starting this whole Jinhao rabbit hole? I think since January, right? I have had this inked up with the same ink, the Heart of Darkness. I bet you it'll write. Hold on, let me try it. Oh my, no, yeah, right away. Right away. And that's what made me think, wow, you know what? It could be the ink. If I use a wetter ink, it may not dry out. Now, I'm not saying that all Jinhaos are perfect, but definitely consider, again, like the inks that you use, because I have never changed this out and it still works. Like, I never reach for this. Well, I hardly reach for this. And I think the last time I actually used this was literally the last video I showed you talking about how this doesn't dry out. I think it was the title, they call it cheap, I call it affordable. That was still what, like 2 weeks ago? Yeah, and I haven't, it's been sitting in its case and you saw it start writing right away. So that's one thing I did want to point out. I don't have any problems with the dry outs. This one even, let me see if this one writes. This is the Jinhao inked in the Hongdian black. Let me see. Yeah, okay, it's writing right away. And I haven't used this in, probably in like 5 or 6 days. Because for black, I am reaching for this one right here. These two. One thing that I have started doing is adding an ink log. I'm trying to see where, right here. I have to start remembering now that I'm becoming like a fanatic over my inks and swatches. in my journal, or kind of like my commonplace journal, I started documenting what I have and what I'm currently using, so that way I can remember, like, when's the last time I used that ink, or which ink did I really love with my, with my Pilot capless, or with my brass pen. So that's one thing I'm doing now on a monthly basis. I'm trying to keep it under 6. I already have this documented. I'm using the M2 with the Desert Burst, and then for my TWSBI Eco, this is an extra fine, and I really want to use up this sample that I got. So even though I'm reaching for these two right here, the Hongdian and the Admok more, I do like this green, and I am going to be doing a little bit of, light art journaling and illustrations with this. So I kept this in rotation for April. And the salamander is a unique mossy green, mossy emerald green is how I would describe it. And then I'm going to do the swatches, with the Raisin and the Thunderstorm. A new tool that I've really been enjoying when it comes to swatching my pens or my inks, because I was using a cotton swab, you can use that, but it sucks and it, pulls a lot of the ink. So with this, it's a makeup spatula that you can get. You can like mix concealers and foundation. So you can pretty much get this anywhere. Just look up makeup spatula, makeup. I think it's just makeup spatula. But all I do is I just dip the spatula in here, and it coats right here at the top. And then I go and whatever, swatch card I'm using or notebook, I just go over it like that. Let me zoom you in. And then there I have it. What's really fun is that the way that this ink comes out, it's not really like a controlled outcome, so I feel like it looks a little bit more natural. I'll get a little bit of like the swipes, and then I'll get some of like the darker like strokes right here, like the swirls. So if you use like a broader nib, or if you want to see how it looks like with a finer nib, you can kind of see that. So this is what I do. I play around with inks. This is my child's play that I enjoy. So I have that documented here. And then the Thunderstorm. I really like this color because it is like I always say I don't really like blue, but somehow I'm always leaning towards black blue. So I don't like blues, but I don't mind black blues because, I like black inks. This one's really wet, so I have to be careful. Look how much ink came on there. And then just swirl it like this. And I do have proper swatch cards, but this is funner. But I do need to do my proper swatch cards. It's just, I don't feel like going back and doing it all over again when I have my ink log already documenting my inks. Okay, hold on. Let me get a good swipe here. And then I'll show you how it looks. Yeah, I know it's not like the best. It's not like the prettiest. That doesn't look all like proper and professional, but this is what I would be drawn to, like with my eye. Like, how would it look just in kind of like a natural flow, like a random blob. And I'm going to do the other two later, but bringing you up closer to see how this looks. Do you see right here in the sunlight? It's a beautiful, like, dark, yeah, blue, black. It reminds me kind of like a midnight or like a thunderstorm. I feel like that's very appropriate. Okay. And then what else? I'm trying to think. I do have a couple other new inks, but it's not worth highlighting right now this time because I have not used them, so I can't really say if it's worth it or not with nibs. One of them that comes to mind is the Allegory. That brown was so odd, wasn't it? If you've seen my other video, let me grab it real quick. That Allegory was where did I put it? Okay, I can't seem to find it at the moment, but it came out like a very dusty brown, and a few of you wanted to know how it looks like in the written form, and I'll have to keep you updated on that because I am not sure. You see this dry down, how nice that looks? All right, and now last but not least, okay, did I go over? Oh, I forgot. Hold on. I have to show you because I got the Admok M800. Oh, that TWSBI. Remind me to tell you about this TWSBI. The Asvine, yes. One of you recommended the Asvine V126, and you're right, I do like it. It is a vac fill, which means like you plunge it and it sucks it up. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Maybe because, again, like I'm still kind of new to this. I had the TWSBI Iris vacuum filler. I never used it, but just the mechanism, it intimidated me, so I sold it. So this is actually my first time using it, and I don't know how I feel about about fountain pens. So let me know, like, the pros, the cons. Like, it just doesn't, I don't know how I feel. I rather have like the piston fill or I think because it took me a couple tries. But I will say this is a very smooth writer. So thank you for recommending this pen. I still don't have regrets purchasing this budget-friendly pen, but just filling it up, I'm just like, okay, I might have to get familiar with this. I have this inked in the Hongdian blackish green. It's so weird because it's called blackish green, but it does not even resemble black at all. It is more like a blue green. So you can see here on this Irreful paper, this is the Asvine. The nibs that I have, it comes out very wet for a fine. Again, with like these Chinese pens, if it says fine, it's really going to write like a medium. So keep that in mind. It's like sizing up. Okay, it's like just know that if you get a fine, it's going to be a medium. If you get a medium, it's going to be a bold. If you get extra fine, it's going to be a fine. So if you want extra fine, like true extra fine, I'm not sure, you might have to use like a dry ink. But I like this pairing. I do like the feel of this pen. It's very comfortable. So I don't, have any regrets. I'm happy to have this within my collection. I think it's very similar to, didn't you say, some of you said it's very similar to the Pilot, what's the Pilot, one of those Pilots, 823 or 743. I don't think I'm going to invest in a Pilot vacuum filler anytime soon because I don't think I like it. I don't think it's for me. But the Estie, okay? I know I haven't inked this up. I haven't used it. I finally got it inked up. And a few of you wanted to know my impressions. The fine, okay, this nib is very smooth. Yep, it's nice. It writes great. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest, okay? And this is just me speaking from my journey so far right now. This is Michelle right now, in end of March 2025. My thoughts could change in a couple of months. But I have to make sure I word this carefully. This is a smooth writer. Yes, I did write with it. The only thing is, would I spend my own money on this again? Or, again, everyone's preferences and values are different and what they're looking for. For me, I think that I'm not totally like wowed by this pen. I don't think it's a bad investment. I'm just not, for me, again, for the price point, because this is retailing for $175. It's great. It's reliable, but, it is what it is, basically. I guess it is what it is. I guess the same goes for like the Banus. Someone may look at this and be like, oh my gosh, that is just so ugly. Like, who would spend over $100 for that pen? So valid, right? Valid. It's all a matter of preference. But I have noticed that my preferences have changed, especially now that I am discovering what I like and what I don't like. And the reason why I don't think I would probably, invest in the Esterbrook Estie, I mean, while the design is beautiful, okay, it is very sleek, very beautiful, very eye-catching, I am starting to like this design, this shape, this girth. Like, is this a cigar shape? No, I don't think this is a cigar shape, but I am liking this shape better than this kind of pointy torpedo shape. Maybe if it was girthier, maybe, but I kind of like this style where it's a little bit like rounded here and right here, maybe because it reminds me of the TWSBI, my first love. And the Estie is just, yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, I will say though, if you're wanting to know how this writes, it's like this. If you got this in a fine, because this writes wetter. If you got this in an extra fine, I'm pretty sure it will write just like this fine Estie, this Esterbrook. Okay, I know that's a controversial hot take there, like, or even maybe like the Pilot. But I think that's maybe why I'm fumbling to find the words to describe why I would not invest in Esterbrook pens, because I get that same feeling with this Asvine, minus the vacuum filler. This, I do like, how you can, the cartridge. I do like this. I much prefer this mechanism better, but it's all matter of preference, really. Matter of preference. And this is just my preference. So you may not see this on my video, and probably why you haven't seen this on my video a lot, because this is not my preference anymore. And I know that, people are easily, not even easily, but people are inspired and influenced by other people's journeys and what they use. And I think my journey looks different with other pens for now. Okay, but it's still a beautiful writer. Okay, I will say that. Yes, I have not had any problems with this for the few weeks I've been using it, and that's that. But I do like these. The Admok, the Asvine. The TWSBI? Okay, I have to talk to you about this TWSBI pen. I emailed them. I haven't heard anything back. And okay, that's fine. I emailed both. They had like their LA office and they had their office in Taiwan. So I emailed it thinking, hey, maybe it got lost in spam. But the reason is because, okay, I don't know if you could tell. I should have put a sticker on here so you could see. Maybe I'll do that so you could tell. It keeps swirling. I don't know what happened with this. I've had this pen for over 5 years now, or since 2020. This is my first love. And okay, so here's the marker, but look, you see how that twists? I don't know how that happened. And I have tried just like twisting it and twisting it and twisting it, and I tried like both ways, and I thought maybe like this part up here was loose, and I pushed this down. And I think I've tried pretty much everything that I could. I tried to look for like videos, and I Googled, and yeah, it doesn't bother me all the time. But yeah, sometimes if I'm writing like longer sessions, my finger, it does swivel. And that was the inspiration. I think that's why I also haven't reached for my TWSBI, because this was the one that held my black inks. This was, you know, the daily writer, so to say. But she's the one now. However, I will spill a little bit of a secret with you. There is, I thought about repurchasing this because you guys know, like, this is my first love. This is the pen that got me down the rabbit hole. I still recommend the TWSBI brand in general. Maybe the Eco to get you started. But if you want more of like a heftier, elevated look, the Diamond's nice because it has, you know, like the faceted body right here, where the Eco is just kind of like this smooth look. And then even the cap is different. The hardware here is different. Even right here, the branding. So slight differences. The writing experience, I would say, is still, you know, in my head, I feel like the 580 writes a little bit crispier. Like it's a little bit more crisp with this. And you can change out their nibs. But I thought about replacing this because I want this in my collection. It holds a lot of nostalgic memories. But then I remembered, oh no, I have the Iris, the Diamond, yeah. So I really don't need this replaced because I have this in the fine nib. But I like to play matchy-matchy, and a lot of times I just keep this dedicated to a purple ink. So we're getting to the end here, okay? Hold on. Let me look. Let me make sure I got new pens. Okay, surprise. Well, I guess it was a blessing in disguise that I never heard back from TWSBI, because I got impatient and I was thinking, like, you know what? I need something else. I need something else. Yes, I have this, but I want to see, like, I don't know. Okay. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to say this for the next episode. Okay, but I will say, to make it a little bit fun and interesting, this is a Pilot, okay, a Pilot fountain pen. If you can guess what model I have, the first person to guess correctly, I will send you a prize. If you would like to receive a prize, I will send you a prize of some, let me see, some ink samples, maybe like 3 or 4 ink samples. Yeah, I'll send you. You might already have all the inks I have, because whoever guesses this, you're probably, you know, a fountain pen enthusiast. But I would love to send you maybe some samples from my humble collection. If you watch my channel regularly, you may know from my ink logs like what I have, and maybe you can request some samples. But if you can guess correctly, however, to keep things a little interesting, I have 2. I have 2 new Pilot pens. You guys, I know I'm raving all about the Jinhaos, but don't be mistaken. I appreciate good quality pens too, okay? And I had some gift cards that were just waiting to be used up. Yeah, and let's just say that these gift cards definitely covered these Pilot pens, and I'm so thrilled. I mean, I love Pilot. This whole rabbit hole was sparked by the Cacao, not this exact one, but the clear one from the gift exchange from Jenny. It's all her fault, but you know, humble beginnings here. I still recommend the Pilot Kakuno, and this nib is it's beautiful. It's nice. And my tastes are changing. I'm noticing because, you know, I'm getting down further into the rabbit hole, and I'm starting to learn my preferences. Basically, I stayed stuck with one brand because this is all I knew. This felt familiar. I was scared. I was intimidated. I didn't know if other things were worth my investment. And I shared this in another video. You know, I've made some costly mistakes, I would say, realizing certain things I don't like with pens, like the step downs and, you know, really harsh threadings. And now that these Jinhaos and these Hongdians have given me the opportunity to feel and to grasp and to really experience what I like, that offers me a comfortable writing experience. Now I'm actually, you know, I am kind of understanding why certain people are maybe, is it biased or loyal to certain other brands, you know, like Sailors or the Pelicans or Pilots and so forth and so forth. So for now, I think, you know, Pilot, I would recommend Pilot for sure, just like I still recommend TWSBIs and I still recommend the Jinhaos. I mean, if we're going to go in price point, you know, I would say, yeah, if you're starting off, look for Jinhaos or look for even Hongdian pens, the Hongdian brand, go for those if you're starting off with your journey. But even if that's still a little high, $20, you can't go wrong with a Pilot Kakuno, okay? So you can even start there. They have different colors now, thankfully. You can get, you know, the gray, you can get from their Drowsy line, they have different fun colors. The Pilot Prera, that's cute. I always show that. I don't have it right now, but the nib, from my understanding, is the same as the Kakuno. So start off here. Pilot Kakuno, Prera, Jinhao, Hongdian, and then even, I would say, Admok. This is very, very nice. TWSBIs, you know, this is actually less than the Eco. I think Ecos are now what, like $55, $60. So this is still a little bit less. And then you're going up to the 580. This is really retailing for $80. $80. I don't think I paid $80 at the time. I think it was more like $65. But I mean, these are actually the same. Now that I think about it, when I looked at this, I thought, oh my gosh, $80 is expensive. But then I realized, wait a second, I have two TWSBI diamonds and they're the same price. So yeah, these were like my most expensive fountain pens within my collection at the time. Okay, other than my Benus, but. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one too. Hongdian, again, Hongdian. These are $8, so they should really be going down here. So I'm going to close with, Guess. Got the two Pilots. I'm pretty sure, you already know, I love these pens. I love them. I've already used them. It's been already 2 weeks. I've just been keeping a secret. But two winners, or maybe if you guess them both correctly, you'll get some ink samples. But I also have some in, if you want to support the channel, or if you just want to just support in general, I will link down below my art shop or like my coffee shop where you can treat me to a cup of coffee through your donation. Or I also have I have like an inky support button, and it will include some ink samples. So I will link that down below. Of course, you know, it's limited because I can't drain my whole ink collection. I'm sure like a lot of you guys would want these. So I have a good handful that I'll ship out, and it will cover US shipping. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you're using, what you're enjoying, what inks are your favorites, what pens, or also what paper do you use, because now that I'm enjoying fountain pens, I can see the hype and the appeal with Tomoe River paper, but I might go with the Good Ink Impressions brand. I just wish they had more pages for the price, or I may stick to Stalogy because I've been using that as my handwriting log right here. But oh wow, we're hitting an hour already. Okay, I got to go, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.